Okay, today I'm talking about just eating in general in recovery and some things that I hear often about eating in recovery. One of those things is when people will say, I don't know what to eat. I don't know what to eat. The, what you're really saying, like code for, I don't know how to eat what I want to eat without ticking my eating disorder off. Because you probably actually really do know what to eat, right? However, you're afraid that it may not be balanced. You're afraid there may not be enough variety. You're afraid that it may not be the right time. You're afraid that maybe you already ate that thing. You're afraid there's so many rules around food that when it comes to eating, you feel like you don't know how or what to eat. But really, truth be told, you're terrified to eat what you actually really want to eat because that means you have to break a lot of your eating disordered rules. Okay, so I talk a lot about like taking food off of a pedestal, right? Just making food and eating not this big, huge, event in the day. It's just a thing that you're doing pretty much all day long, which makes it a little less exciting because you're doing it all day long. Which, when you're in recovery and you've got an eating disorder, your brain doesn't like that. Your eating disorder doesn't like the idea of you trying to make food less exciting because that excitement, right? That like the anticipation of eating something is where you get that high when you have an eating disorder of like, oh, I'm being so good, I'm saving up, or ooh, I said no to this and that today, so now I can have this later. There's that excitement that at least for me, I know for years is kind of what drove that restriction and kept me feeling so dedicated and committed to being so careful during the day, because that excitement when I finally got to sit down to eat and I felt that hunger and I was able to taste and I primed myself to enjoy the food, right? So in recovery, then we're asking you to stop doing that. We're asking you to actually just eat all day long, even when you're full, to eat if you're thinking about food. And so there's a lot of resistance there because it's like, wait, you're taking away like the one joy in my life. Don't ask me to do that. I don't want to eat when I'm full. Even though really you do, you don't want to eat when you're full in recovery because then you feel like you won't be able to enjoy food as much next time you eat, right? Or when you're eating, when you're full, it doesn't feel as fun and as exciting, but you have to do it anyways. And in your brain, you're kind of like, well, then I'm just going to wait. I don't want to do that. I want to wait until I actually feel like I want to eat, physically like I want to eat. If you're doing that, if you're in recovery and you're doing that, you are not going to recover. If you think that you get to only eat when you feel physical hunger and that food is going to feel this like comfortable, exciting, balanced experience, it's not. Most of the eating that I did in recovery was on a full stomach. It was a confusing feeling though, because I didn't want to eat, but at the same time I did want to eat, right? So it was like I felt really full physically and my body was kind of like, no more food, but mentally it was like eat, 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 eat. And I listened to that mental hunger and I ate when I was full over and over and over and over and over again. And that excitement of food, you're right, it did go down. It was kind of like, I know I'd enjoy this more if I was hungry. I know I'd enjoy this more if I didn't have so much food in my stomach right now. I know I'd enjoy this more if I didn't already have so much earlier in the day. But the bottom line is, if you want to rewire your brain, if you want to overcome this eating disorder of yours and the chatter in your head, you're going to have to do it, even when you don't feel like it, even when it doesn't feel as exciting as you were used to it feeling. That's the whole point of recovery, is to get yourself to a point where you can just eat food, have it be enjoyable, and then move on with your life. And then eat again, and then move on. The point of recovery is not to no longer enjoy eating, to no longer find pleasure in food. Of course not. Of course not. Food is always going to be an enjoyable, wonderful thing. It's meant to be. We are wired for it to be enjoyable. Otherwise, how would we continue to survive, right? Food is meant to be enjoyable, but it's within reason, and it kind of is in like, there's a lot of things that should excite you in your life, food being one of them, but a lot of other things as well. And when you have an eating disorder, when you're in recovery, well, when you have an eating disorder, foods like here, nothing else really excites you, right? And then when you're in recovery, food is still really exciting, but we're trying to get you to eat so much of it that it becomes a little bit less exciting. And then over time, as your body rehabilitates, obviously, other kinds of things will start to feel a little bit more exciting. That's not something you have to force, but what you do have to force is forcing yourself to eat even when you feel like physically you don't really want to, but mentally your brain is asking you to, okay? So that's my message to you today. If you're thinking you're going to recover and this is all going to feel wonderful and perfect and smooth and everything's going to feel great and balanced in your body, it's not. It's really uncomfortable most of the time. All right, bye.